Two guys in their early 50s with one dream: to achieve middle-aged sporting glory. This is the Missing Links Golf Show. Andy Walker, it's that time again when we get together and talk about our quest towards middle-aged sporting glory. Are you any closer?
Is it a quest now? I thought it was a pilgrimage.
Oh, it's a very good point. Let me start again. Andy Walker, it is that time where once again we get together and talk about our pilgrimage towards middle-aged sporting glory. Are you any closer?
Is the pilgrimage an end point, or is the pilgrimage just part of the quest?
I feel like your reluctance to answer the question is an answer in and of itself. Pilgrimage, I suppose, so chosen because it represents a journey that sets out in a direction, but very quickly the destination becomes less important than the lessons that we learn along the way.
Correct. Hence my question back.
So I've forgot the question.
So the question was, am I any closer? And the fact is that we're on the pilgrimage. So how close do you want to be to being on the pilgrimage when you're already on the pilgrimage?
I suppose the question is, have you learned any more lessons?
I've learnt plenty of lessons. Does that transpire to better golf? Well,
who's to know? But that's what we're here to find out about.
That's true. I mean, what is better golf anyway?
Now, pilgrims, you couldn't script this, okay? And that's why we didn't try. You literally could not script this. Nobody would script this, let's be honest. So anyway, what are we here to talk about? Hit me with some topics. What's on the agenda for this episode?
Oh, look, I think we may have a bit of a chat about the Mollymook Senior Amateur that I played in over the weekend.
Good event.
Went down to my old junior stomping ground and had a game around Mollymook, which, you know, I have to say, every time I go down there, I know I've said it a couple of times, but I took it for granted when I was a junior. And going back down there and playing Mollymook, it is an absolute pleasure. It really is. And the course keeps improving, and they are doing a lot of work to the course. They've actually got the 11th hole out at the moment. So they've got the sixth hole that's split, the par 5, sort of big dogleg, sort of U-shaped down the bottom of the course. They've got that split into a par 3 and a par 4. So it's a par 70 at the moment, and the 11th, the par 4, they've completely ripped up the green and redoing the green at the moment. They're doing some drainage work down the right-hand side of the fairway, which always got pretty boggy. I still remember that from my junior days. That was always the wet part of the course. But they've opened up. Well, they've redone the 4th, and that's been open for a few months. I played the new fifth hole for the first time. There's a fairway bunker up the left-hand side of the fairway, and then a brand new green surrounds. And big improvement. I'm pretty impressed with what they've done down there. They're doing a great job.
Awesome. That's exciting. I can't wait to get down there one of these days and have another crack. I've played it many times, and huge fan of the Hilltop course down at Mollymook. It's just absolutely spectacular. Some beautiful holes.
Yeah. Well, over the coming years, they are going to do the whole course. So the 11th, it will be the 3rd hole that they're doing, but they are actually going through and they're redoing basically the whole golf course. So by the time they finish it, it's like I think it's like a 6-year project or something like that. So it's going to be a little while that they've got these temporary holes in place, but when they're finished, it's going to be mint. It's going to be a great golf course.
Yeah, no, amazing. So, Mollymook Senior Amateur.
Yes, and I actually put a little bit more preparation than what I have done previously, because I wanted to put up a pretty strong showing. So last Thursday and Friday, I took a little bit of time. Thursday afternoon, I had a short game and putting session, sort of 30, 45 minutes for each. And then on Friday, I had, again, another short game putting session, a little bit of a shorter one this time, and then played 8 holes at my home club, Coimbra. So I felt, certainly with my short game and putting, I felt as though that was in a good spot. My irons were still good. However, I stood up on the 13th, and
Let me guess.
a few weeks back, remember that 13th owns me?
Let me guess. It's gone left?
Yeah.
By any chance?
Yeah. 4 in a row off the tee, left in the water.
That's not ideal.
Just could not control the left hook. So I ended up just taking my 3 utility off the tee and bunting it down the fairway to try and actually get off the tee. But yeah, 4 golf balls later.
Did you think about
it? Certainly wasn't pretty.
Did you think about just like really trying to open the face and fan one out there, or
no? Because there are houses out the other side. So
yeah, okay.
Just imagine that, like fanning one out and hitting this big block cut and hearing this big crash.
I'm sure plenty of people do it.
Yeah. But I don't want to be one of them. So no, I took the 3 utility and hit a reasonably good shot down the fairway. And so I in the rest of the round, the sort of 4 or 5 holes I played after that, I was trying a few different things to try and get the hook under control, and I felt as though I was making some progress, but at the end of the day, I just ran out of light. I ran out of holes, and so I had to go home and cry into my pillow that I was going to hit snap hooks all day on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, however, so I've known that the business that I own is part of a franchise group, right? And there's another guy who is in the franchise group, a guy by the name of Wendy Doolan, who I've been mates with for sort of 15 years. I got on really, really well with him. And his sister is Wendy Doolan. So the Australian LPGA player of sort of around the Kari Webb era. Yep. So she won 5 times on tour, I think 3 times on the LPGA, and had 3 top 10 finishes in the slams. So I've known Wendy now for probably 3 years, I'd say. And we've had some good conversations, and I actually saw her on Wednesday and had a bit of a chat to her about just what I was doing, and mentioned that I had the snap hooks, and I was going out on Friday just to try and sort of get them under control. And she sent me a message on Friday night going, "Oh, how'd you go on Friday?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I hit 4 into the water on 13." So anyway, she gave me a few little things to work on. And she said, "Can you go to the range in the morning?" And I'm like, "Oh, I might be able to sort of get there and just, maybe spend half an hour before I head down the coast." So I did that, and I went to the golf range, and I hit sort of 30 balls and managed to sort a few things out. And my last half a dozen drives, I absolutely smoked. And on the way down the coast, I actually called Wendy. I said, "Oh, thanks for the tip. I'm going to win tomorrow."
Nothing like a little bit of humility.
Yeah. So look, a bit of overconfidence maybe. I might have been getting ahead of myself a little bit, but look, I felt after that session on Saturday morning, and after sort of getting a few sort of little pointers in the right direction, I felt pretty confident as I was driving down there on Saturday. However, the weather forecast wasn't great, so it was forecast for rain. And it turned out to be a little bit of a chilly day, so 16 degrees Celsius top, so talking about 61 degrees Fahrenheit. We were pretty lucky, actually, in regards to the rain. We did get a shower come through. We were on about the 8th hole, where we got a shower come through. By the time we'd made the turn and got to the 10th, it had all gone, and that was really about it. So I feel as though we were pretty lucky with the day, given the weather forecast, as well as Yeah, given it was sort of going to be fairly cold. So, but they did have so it was preferred lies in the general area, and they did actually make that announcement in the general area, and I went, I know what that means.
You now know what that means. That's fantastic. Well done.
Yes. So Mollymook, the first time I've actually heard them announce that over the loudspeaker. So well done, Mollymook. But all the bunkers were GUR. So, and that's because
Right.
about 4 a.m. we got a pretty decent downpour, and it was pretty wet. Some of the greens, there was a little bit of casual water on some of the greens, so it was still pretty wet. But look, at the end of the day, the course sort of played well, and it was in really good condition. Now, I was paired up, or not paired. We played in a group before, but I was playing with an old flatmate of mine who, when I moved out of home and I first moved to Sydney in 1996, I flattered with this guy for sort of 3 or 4 months in the sunny suburb of Penshurst, which I know you're fairly familiar with. So I hadn't seen Tomo for probably best part of 30 years. And in the clubhouse, I saw him, and we sort of got chatting and, talking about old times and what he was doing, what I was doing. And all of a sudden, 20 minutes had gone by, and I'm like, oh, I've still got to warm up.
Better warm up, Andy
So,
Walker.
so my warm up was a little bit compromised, and I just got, and you know what you do when you're in a good conversation, you just get caught up in the conversation.
That's
So
true.
yeah, so I sort of ran down to the practice nets. I had a reasonable warm up. I had a few putts, felt pretty confident, and jumped on the first tee, raring to go.
Now, did you tee off on
So
1 or on 10?
yeah, so I teed off on 1. So that's the par 4
Yep.
down the hill, pretty decent slope down the hill. I was a bit nervous, I have to say. I didn't sleep particularly well on Saturday night
Because you were
I
nervous.
because I was a bit nervous. So a little bit of anxiety, I think,
That's
was
interesting.
creeping in. Bit of performance anxiety. So
That's interesting.
yeah, I haven't had that for a little while. I've been nervous in a round of golf and sort of jumping on the first tee, but it's been a little while since I've been that nervous that it's impacted my sleep. So yeah, so I did employ a few of the breathing techniques and a little bit of breath work in there and calm myself down. But I was still pretty nervous standing on the first tee, and I sort of blocked my tee shot a little bit, sort of out to the right, sort of, and ended up actually in the rough on 18, which is sort of the whole sort of the next hole across that comes back up the hill. Didn't have much of a shot into the green, and I sort of bunted a 3 utility down there to around about sort of 30 metres short of the green. Hit a little bit of a thin pitch, wasn't that great, and because the greens were pretty soft, it just basically stopped dead around about sort of 3 metres short of the flag, and I 2-putted for just a easy bogey. So off to a bogey start, which it wasn't that bad, but I didn't feel that I made a mess of the first hole. So I guess that was a positive.
That is a positive.
So then I jumped on the second, and the second is a dogleg right, fairly long par 4. I can't hit my driver off the tee. My playing partner Tomo, he did hit a driver, but he can hit a cut, whereas I struggle with a cut. So I've got my natural draw, or overdraw, as it sometimes turns into be.
Yes.
So I hit my 4th fairway off the tee and absolutely ripped it down the right-hand side of the fairway. Hit actually a really good tee shot. So I went, oh, that's pretty good. Like after the previous day at the range, I thought, okay, that's promising. I had a 6-iron into the green and hit a little bit of a thinny sort of lefty 6-iron that actually ended up in the greenside bunker, but because it's GUR, was able to take a drop, hit a really good little sort of pitch with my 50-degree gap wedge to around about 2 feet and tapped it in for par. So
Nice.
I sort of felt fairly good after that and thought, okay, well, a little bit of a nervous start, but made a good par on 2. So 3, again, long par 4, but this time going in the opposite direction, so dogleg left. And again, I can't hit a drive off the tee. I mean, I could try and overdraw it around the corner, but I feel as though there's too much risk there because you don't want to go too far through the fairway because then you get blocked out. There are some pretty big turpentines there that are up near the green. So I've hit my 3 utility and hit it okay, turned it over a little bit and ended up around about 173 from the flag. So I hit a 4-iron, which sort of was a little bit thin to the right-hand side of the green, just in the sort of green fringe. I was able to putt it, but it was a pretty long putt. And I actually hit it fairly well, but just hit it around about sort of 2 meters past and missed the returning.
Oh, ouch.
So that was pretty disappointing. I actually hit a good putt. I wasn't disappointed with the putt. I actually hit the putt where I wanted to. It was just a bit of a misread. It didn't break as much as what I thought it was going to, whether that was just because it was a little bit sort of damp, and as you know, in damp conditions the ball doesn't quite break as much as what it would on faster greens. So I walked to the 4th tee not overly disappointed, but sort of going, all right, well, not an ugly start, but I guess I'd have to take it.
Well, you do, because that's the rules of the game.
Yeah, you can't go back and play it again.
Yeah.
So stood on the 4th, hit a really good tee shot down the left-hand side of the fairway on 4. Only had about 123 to the flag and hit a nice little sort of 9-iron that just leaked a little bit right, but it ended up just in the green fringe. I thought at one point it was going to sort of stay right, and there's a bit of a bank that goes down to the bunker. I thought it was going to catch that bank and just roll down into the bunker, but it didn't. It stayed on the bank, which was good. Was probably around about maybe 15 to 18 feet from the flag, and sort of just an uphill right to left putt. And I actually hit a really good putt, but it just turned at the end, rolled over the lip around about maybe 50, 60 centimetres past, and made the one coming back. So
nice.
Bogey par start. So two over through 4. The 5th hole's a par 3. I had 143 metres, and it's sort of slightly downhill, but I didn't feel as though I wanted to push an 8-iron. It was still a little bit chilly, so I thought, okay, well, the ball's not going to fly as far as what it normally would. So I just gripped down on a 7-iron and absolutely ripped it straight over the flag, and it ended up on the back of the green around about probably, 30 feet past the flag. So I've hit this 7-iron probably, it'd be over 150 metres.
Nice.
And it's just sort of a half sort of bunt 7-iron, but just came, those
just
shots
flushed
that you
it.
hit that just flushed it, came out of the middle, felt good, sounded good.
And it's like you get an extra 10%, I reckon, on
just in
that absolute sweet spot of the club face.
Yeah. And look, potentially, because it was still a little bit damp, there could have been some water that got in the grooves or something like that.
You're strong. You're just a beast of a human.
I've just absolutely ripped it. But look, it was an interesting little pin placement because it was sort of tucked on the left-hand side of the green, and something, and I'd never seen the pin there, even in all my junior days, they'd never seen the pin there. And there's actually a quite a decent lip on the bunker that then slopes down to where the flag is. And I was looking at this putt, and it actually had probably around about 2 feet of break in it, whereas normally that green's pretty flat. You wouldn't sort of allow for any more than maybe 5 or 6 inches at any point around that green. But this had a decent amount of break, and again I hit a really, really good putt that just rolled over the edge of the hole about 2 feet past and made the one coming back. So second par in a row.
Stress-free putt. And you know what? 5 in, 2 over. Not going too bad.
Yeah. Look, and I wasn't unhappy with that, and I thought, this potentially keep playing like this, keep grinding away, and there's a lot of positive golf in there. So then I come to the first of the temporary holes. So the sixth hole, and this hole was it's a bit of a tough hole. It's a long par three. It was like 165 meters, and the green's really, really hard. It was back into the wind a little bit, so I punched a 5-iron, but just out of the heel, and it went right, landed just right in the fringe of the green, and took a really big bounce, and was sort of a little bit past pin high. Maybe about sort of 8 or 9 meters off the green.
Have they got a proper green, or is it like temporary green where they've got mown fairway and a hole in it like happens?
No, it's a proper green. So they've purposely built this green, for it to be. So it's like the 14th and the 13th and the 14th green. So it's a brand new green, but it's also very, very hard, and it's a pure bent green, but it's just different to what the other ones are. And around the green, the lie was a little bit thin, and I just wasn't that confident hitting a sort of wedge. So I grabbed my 6-iron to have a bunt it, hit a little sort of bunt, chip and run, and just sort of hit a little bit fat, and it came up around about sort of 12 feet short. And I actually hit a really good putt, but I was too focused on the line rather than length, and it ended up about 6 inches short, dead in the heart of the hole.
Yes.
So that was a little bit disappointing, because I was super keen to, and I should have made it up and down, and the tee shot wasn't that great. However, walked off with a bogey.
It's okay. Not a disaster.
So then the next of the temporary holes, it was sort of halfway down the fairway, and it's a short par 4, was 240 meters long. And I was in two minds, because I hit my driver around about 250, 255 when I really get it.
Yep.
But to fly it, so the pin, so there's an opening front right, and it sort of goes around a bunker, and the pin was sort of tucked over the bunker. And I thought, okay, well, if I can hit it at that opening. The last time I played there, I landed just short, and the Kaiku killed the bounce, and it just sort of hit and stopped and ended up just short of the green. So I thought, all right, well, if I can do something like that and land it maybe 235, then it should end up in a pretty good spot. Anyway, I stood on the tee and have absolutely ripped a drive exactly where I wanted to at the right hand side of the green. It's landed on the green and just taken one bounce over the back.
Oof.
So we get down there, and it was in a reasonable position. The only problem is that from where I was, it's all downhill to the flag. And I didn't want to land it too far past, because then sort of there's a chance it sort of rolls off the other side. So I grabbed my 58, and I just missed my landing spot by probably about 2 feet. Landed a little bit short in the fringe, and the fringe just killed the momentum of the ball, and it ended up about 12 feet short. So I was a little bit disappointed with that, because I felt as though I hit a good little chip, but it was just. I just missed my landing spot by about 2 feet, which obviously you do sometimes.
Yeah.
And then again, I made the same mistake as what I'd made on the previous hole, in that I was too focused on the line, and I just forgot to hit it. And it was a right to left putt. It started out on line, but then just lost pace, lost momentum, and died to the left and missed. But it was still a par.
Yeah.
So, it's not like it was a mistake, but I felt as though it was potentially a birdie hole, and I should have made birdie. So I was sort of a little bit disappointed walking off the green.
It's probably a par 3.5 in fairness at that range. So.
Yeah.
Now, just with your putting, question for you. Are you using the line on the ball to line up your putt, line up your line?
No, no, no. I've never used the line on the ball. I did try it at one point, and found it was just distracting. So I didn't. No. I've always done is used a spot around about a foot, 18 inches in front of the ball to be able to line up to. So yeah, I'm a spot putter, and the same as full shots. You know, I pick a point, you know, maybe 3 feet, a meter in front of my ball, and that's what I line up to. So yeah, and that's a very Jack Nicklaus thing. I learned that off Jack Nicklaus.
You learned it off Jack Nicklaus. Have a go at yourself.
I've learned it through reading Jack Nicklaus books and how he played the game rather than off him directly.
So just before we move on, the reason that I asked that, and this, I'm not anticipating that you're going to pick this up and do it, but I think it's an interesting point for the Pilgrims because some of them may want to. You mentioned in a couple of holes here that you've and this happens, you fall in love with the line and you forget about the speed, right? When you read a putt and you stand over it and you're thinking about the line. One of the things about using the line on the ball to line up where you're aiming is that it enables you then to stop thinking about the line when you stand over your putt because you're just hitting it on that line so you can focus on speed. For some people, me included, that really works so that I only have to think about one thing at a time. So not asking the brain to multitask over a putt. So you line it up, you line you draw the Sharpie line on your ball and you line that up on the line of the putt that you want to hit, which means that when you stand over the ball, you can align yourself to that and you can square your putter face to that and you're just focusing on the speed that you want to hit at. So that's just something for the Pilgrims listening that you go, there's a few different ways of approaching it, lining up with the spot like you talk about. A lot of people do that. Lining up with the line. It's really interesting. I did another exercise when I had a round with Matty Woodbridge, coach extraordinaire. We did this thing on the practice putting green where he goes, he goes, all right, put a club down directly in line with the hole, on the line you're going to putt, the shaft pointing to the hole. Bring it back another club length and, make sure that it's pointing straight at the hole. Drop the ball at the end of the club, at the far end of the club and said, all right, let's stand over this line, you putt up, stand over the putt and tell me where you think the club's pointing.
Yep.
And to my eye line standing over the putt, I thought the club was pointing about a half a cup outside right.
Yep.
But when I stood behind it, I could see that club was actually pointing directly at the centre of the hole. And that's really interesting because that says to me that I can't trust my eye line standing over a putt, that I have to have it lined up and use the line to actually hit the putt on line, which was really quite enlightening.
Yeah. And look, a lot of people like that because when I went through the Sam Putt Lab a couple of weeks ago with Andrew Dote, when I had the lesson and we went out on the putting green, we were finding the same thing in that I felt like I was actually aiming a long way right, but in fact I was actually aiming at the hole. So it felt like I needed to, when I'm over the ball, like I should be aiming further left than what I needed to. Whereas, when I was aiming at the hole, I felt like I was aiming, maybe a cup out to the right. So, yeah, I agree with you that you can't trust your eye line. You need to be, whether it be with the line, whether it be with a spot in front of the ball.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
It's remarkable, and it's one of those things. A number of times, as golfers, we all do it. You read a putt, and then you stand over it, and then you second guess yourself because you think you've got it wrong. I mean, it's different if you're going, oh no, this is going right to left versus straight or left to right or something. But if you think you got your aim wrong, don't trust your eyesight standing in your putting stance.
Yeah. I agree with that. 100%.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, little tangent, but I thought it was a good one about putting because it's really interesting. Like until you try these things out, you don't know. I would thoroughly recommend to everyone, try the line on the ball.
Yep.
It doesn't work for everyone. It's been a game changer for me.
Yep. Okay. So back to the Mollymook Seniors. So next hole was the 7th hole, even though it was actually our 8th hole that we were playing, because we've just played the two temporary holes. I pulled out my 4 fairway. Now this is a par 4 that's dog legs to the left, and it's actually got a creek running up the left hand side of the fairway. Now most of the fairway, the creek's actually in the tree line and you can't see it, but as soon as you get to the dog leg, the creek comes out and basically crosses straight across the fairway. So you've got to be careful you don't go too far left with this shot, because firstly, you've got to hit it well enough to get it far enough down to get the shot around the dog leg, but then you can't short side yourself, because even if you hit it the perfect distance, but you're too far on the left-hand side of the fairway, you're going to be blocked out by the tree line.
Is it
down
possible?
The left
Is it possible for the big hitters to fly that corner and go straight towards the green, or are the trees too big?
No. The trees are too big, and the angle of the hazard. Now, as it comes out from the tree line, the further, about halfway along the fairway, it actually widens and sort of, widens around sort of in the same sort of angle and line as the dog leg. So in order to carry it around the dog leg, you're going to have to hit a big, really, really big hook. You wouldn't be able to get over and carry it, but it's just... I mean, maybe someone like Bryson might be able to do it, but certainly no one that was in the field on Sunday was going to do it.
Yeah, fair enough. No one playing the senior amateur had Bryson-like power off the tee. That's that's surprising.
Yeah. So look, I stood up with my 4 fairway, and I reckon I've got it maybe below the bottom groove and it quite literally went about a foot off the ground. And those
I love this.
Yeah, you know those stakes that they put in, and they've got the rope going from stake to stake to stop like carts from going off cart paths and stuff like that.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about actual stakes. Your wooden stakes that go on the ground, little posts.
Yeah. So
not bits of cow.
Yeah. So no, definitely not. So the posts that go in the ground, and you know how they're square.
Yeah.
All right. I've hit one of those.
No.
Absolutely dead center. And it's literally come straight back at me about 30 meters. So it's gone about maybe 100 meters, hit this stake dead in the center. It was middle stump, and you heard it. It was like you came off a cricket bat.
Yeah.
You know that sound
awesome.
that ball hitting willow.
Yeah.
So it's hit the middle of the stake, and it's come back 30 meters, like straight back at me. And I've looked at my playing partners and I've gone, have you ever seen that before? And they're like, no. However, fortunately, like it didn't actually, deflect, because if it had deflected, who knows where it could have gone. But at the end of the day, like this shot only went 70 meters.
Wow.
So I sort of get down there and I'm still sort of 200 down to the end of the dog leg. So I pulled out my 3 utility and he actually hit a really good shot down to sort of within sort of 125 of the flag. And I hit for the shot into the green, I hit a 9-iron, but just sort of caught it a little bit fat. And it came up short, probably about 30 feet short. And that green sort of slopes from back to front, and it's a pretty decent slope from some back to front. And I sort of just couldn't get the right speed, and found that sort of all day that especially the uphill putts were quite slow. So I just wasn't able to get the speed sort of going up the hill, and I left it probably maybe 8 feet short, and then missed that. I know I hit a really poor putt for my second putt, which just started left and went further left, and ended up 3-putting for double bogey.
Ouch. 3 on 3 in.
So that
Sergeant Major.
So that wasn't great.
It's disappointing. Because it was going on not too bad up to that point. You were, 3 over through 7. So now 5 over through 8. Still, it's okay.
So we stood up on the 8th hole, which obviously was the 9th hole that we played. And I hit a really good tee shot up the left-hand side of the fairway. So this is the par 5 that goes all the way up the hill, sort of roundabout, sort of a little bit over 500 metres, and all uphill. They reckon they measured it at one point, and they reckon it from the tee to the green, the elevation is about 10 stories. So that's how much uphill it is. It's a massive uphill par 5.
You know, it'd be interesting actually if you had you're not going to do this in a comp round, but if you had your slope adjustment on your rangefinder to zap the flag from the tee box, or at least the bank around the edge of the green from the tee box, if you can't see the flag.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
And see what it's telling you that it's playing with the slope adjustment.
Yeah. Never thought about doing that before. I might do that next time I'm down there.
I'm an ideas man.
You are.
If only you knew someone in Mollymook that could do that for you.
Yeah, don't know anyone down there.
Yeah.
So get up to my tee shot, and it was just in the left rough, but that was okay because I was able to sort of, tee it up a little bit in the rough, and I thought, I'm 235 metres to the middle of the green, and I thought, I'm going to have a crack at driver with this because when I played at Mollymook in April, I did exactly that in that my second shot, this was from the fairway, I actually had a driver and absolutely ripped a driver from the second. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm feeling pretty confident. I've hit some good tee shots. I feel pretty good over the driver. The only problem is with this swing, I actually heeled it and it sort of went low and left, and it caught the first sort of tree in the tree line and just shot straight left. Ooh. And that's out of bounds.
Ooh.
Where that is. So I sort of went to my playing partners, I'm just going to hit a provisional because I got a feeling that, that just went 90 degrees straight left, and that may be out of bounds. So I hit a provisional, walked up there, and it was, I found it was about a metre in bounds. So I got a little bit lucky. I sort of felt as though I was unlucky, obviously, to hit the tree and go 90 degrees left, but then again, felt a bit lucky that it managed to stay in bounds. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, it was a pretty ordinary shot, so it didn't deserve to be on the fairway or really anywhere near it. So I had no shot. I was sort of stymied to the green, so I just had to sort of pitch out. And I hit a 7-iron pitch, and I just hit a little bit too far, and it rolled through the fairway through the other side. And when I got there, I was actually blocked out again. Awesome. with the trees at the right-hand side. So I just had to hit this bunt little 8-iron, land it short of the green, and sort of scoot it up the front bank of the green. And I actually hit what I thought was a really, really good shot. And I got up there, and it was still about 20 feet short of the flag. And I said to the guys that I played with, did that actually roll back? And they went, no, it stopped there. I was actually quite surprised that I thought I was going to be, maybe not up near the flag, but I at least thought I was going to be within, maybe 15 feet of the flag. So I was a little bit disappointed with the sort of end result because I felt like I hit a better putt than that. Sorry, a better little pitch and run than that. Then with the putt, I left it, again, it was uphill, left it about 2 feet short, dead in the middle of the hole, and putted in for another easy bogey. So we trudge up to the 9th, and this was when the rain squall, the shower sort of came over. So I was also fighting umbrella, bag cover, trying to get everything organised for a bit of a wet spell. So we trudged up to the ninth tee. Now this is a par 3, around about 165 metres. So I've grabbed my 5-iron, and I actually felt as though I hit a bit of a pretty good shot. It went at the right hand side of the green, and I thought it was just going to catch the green, but it sort of landed right at the top crown of the bank and just kicked straight right down the bank, and I probably had maybe around about a 25-metre pitch sort of up the bank. Had plenty of green to work with, but I actually hit a really good 54-degree pitch to around about a foot. So after the, I guess, disappointment of feeling as though I hit a reasonable shot and getting a bit of an unlucky bounce, I hit a really good pitch. So I was pretty happy to walk off with a par.
Nice. Back on the train.
Yeah. So I thought, all right, well, that's 10 holes done. I felt, and I feel as though
at that point.
Yeah, I feel as though the first 9 at Mollymook, especially the opening 4 par 4s, are really tough.
I agree.
And then you've got the 7th and the 8th, which aren't, they're not the easiest holes, and even 9, 165 metre par 3. It's not an easy stretch. So I sort of felt as though I'd got the harder part of the golf course over and done with, and I potentially could start, settling down into the round. And when I stood on the 10th tee, I thought, all right, well, I reckon I could shoot somewhere around par. Maybe if I could sneak a couple of birdies in there, that'd be great. But if I can, make it somewhere around the mid-70s, I'd be pretty happy. So I stood on 10, hit a really good tee shot down the middle of the fairway. It was only 98 metres to the flag, and it's par 4, and it sort of doglegs a little bit down to the left. But again, the drop off from sort of around about maybe 150 metres short of the green, and it's all downhill to the flag, and then there's water behind it.
The other thing is off that tee box, you can't go left.
No, you can't.
If you go left, that's the Bermuda Triangle of golf balls over there.
Yeah.
You're just not finding it.
No, you're not. You're better off going right, because at least because it sort of runs, that first part runs parallel with the first fairway, and if you go right, it actually opens up the flag. So if you've got a decent lie and a path to the flag, you can still have a reasonable shot into the green at making either a par or a birdie. But I was sort of around about 98 metres short of the flag. Hit a really good 54-degree wedge to probably about 15 feet, and did exactly the same thing as what I'd done a few holes earlier, in that I'd left it short, dead in the middle of the hole, around about a foot short of the flag. And it was actually a really good putt and a really good roll. But as I mentioned before, I just wasn't, the greens looked fast, and I just wasn't able to hit putts hard enough to be able to get them to the hole. Really good line, but just was not able to get that speed of and again, because of the rain overnight and being a little bit soft and slow, just couldn't quite get it to the hole.
Andy Walker, have you thought about using the line on your ball?
No, because as I said, it doesn't work.
It does, Pilgrims, it does.
So then the second hole's out of play, so we walk from the first basically to the third tee.
Or the 10th to the 12th, if you prefer.
So again, they've swapped the 9s around. So for me, it's always going to be the second and the third. And I just, it's in that there in the subconscious that that's always going to be the first, second, third hole of Mollymook. But it is now the 10th, 11th and 12th. So 11th hole was out. So we walked from the 10th tee to the 12th tee.
12's a cracking hole too, like that as a par three.
Yeah,
It's a great hole.
it's par three. Yeah, it was. Now the pin was right at the back of the green, and we were pretty much off the plates.
Yeah.
So it was around about 163 meters to the flag.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit downhill. So I took my 6-iron, and similar to my shot on 9, in that I hit it at a good shot at the right-hand side of the green, and it just hit the right-hand side of the green, sort of that sort of crown, and kicked right. And that's a pretty steep slope.
Sure is.
Down to the bottom, sort of it rolls all the way. There's a little bit of a flat spot where fortunately my ball finished up, but then it starts sloping again down to the dam.
Yeah.
But that area there, the green ends up, so when I was taking my stance, the green was actually above my eye line. So that's how steep that slope is. It'd have to be a good, maybe 6.5, 7 feet from the green down to that little flat area. So I grabbed my 58, and I had plenty of green to work with, but I sort of just laid my 58 open a little bit just to hit a nice little sort of flop shot, sort of, landed about halfway to the flag, and hit a really, really good pitch, landed exactly where I wanted to land it, and it ended up probably maybe 3.5 feet above that flag.
Ooh.
Now, that's got a fair bit of slope on it,
Yes, it
green.
does. Yes, it does.
And I looked at it, and I actually said to my playing partners, well, this is either going to be a 1-putt or a 3-putt.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
And quite literally, I stood over the ball, and I hit it as softly as what I possibly could. I reckon it took 5 seconds to get to the hole.
Yeah.
It was going that slow, but it went straight in the middle of the hole. So I actually hit a really good, nice, soft little putt to make par. So I was pretty happy to walk off, especially after. And again, I felt a little bit hard done by with the tee shot. I felt as though my tee shot was better than that. But again, that's golf, right? You just take the good breaks and the bad breaks.
So you felt that the result was a bit unfair, that you deserved better? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I felt as though the result of my tee shot didn't reflect the shot that I hit, but at the end of the day, that's golf, isn't it?
So, like the people that believe that you should be able to pull your ball out of a divot, would they at that point been saying, "Oh, Andy Walk, you don't need to be there. Like, you shouldn't be there. You don't deserve to be there. You should be able to put your ball on the green where you deserve to be."
Potentially, but I mean,
give me strength.
Those people shouldn't be playing golf, should they?
Yes. Anyway, topic for another day. No,
yes.
It's not meant to be fair. It's called golf for a reason.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But anyway, we walked to the 13th tee, and again, 13 is a par 5, dogleg off the tee, probably from about maybe sort of 210, 220. It sort of doglegs down to the right, and it's fairly straight from the top of the hill sort of down to the green. But if you're going to take driver, you really need to cut it off the tee, and cut's not my thing. So I took my 4 fairway, and I hit this big roping snap hook into the trees.
Why didn't you just take driver?
On the left. It's what I thought when I was sort of looking at the ball sailing into the woodwork.
Yeah.
But then it hit one of the big tall gum trees dead in the middle and kicked back out in the fairway.
So at this point, did you pick it up and go, doesn't deserve to be there, I'm going to put it back in the trees? No.
That's my whole point. Yeah. So again, take the good with the bad, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So from the top of the hill, I was never going to get to the green, so I pulled out my 3 utility, and it does get pretty tight down there, probably around about sort of 130, 120 out from the green. So I didn't want to take my 4 fairway after just sort of snap hooking into the trees.
Yeah, fair.
So I took my 3 utility, and I felt pretty confident over the 3 utility. So I felt as though the swing wasn't too bad, but again it went sort of left. It was more of a rather than a snap hook, it was more of a pull.
Overdraw.
Overdraw, and went into the trees, hit a branch, and kicked back out.
Oh, come on. Come on.
And it was just in the left rough, but
Seriously.
it was sort of it was around about it was 163 to the flag, but I had a fairly clear shot to the flag. So after
Did you think that was a fair result?
well, after the ninth hole and then 13, sort of feeling as though I got a bad break. I've just got two good breaks in a row, right? So it sometimes doesn't work out.
No, that's true.
In the same round of golf.
That's true.
But in this instance, it sort of did. So I hit a reasonably good sort of 5-iron, sort of punched down on a 5-iron, but just sort of left it hanging a little bit out to the right. And there's now just over so the creek runs along the front of the green, and just over the creek, they've now on the new green of 13, they've put a bunker short right.
Okay.
Yeah, and it sort of sailed into the bunker because the pin was actually sort of closer to the front of the green. So I didn't want to go past that flag because it's a downhill putt coming back. So
is it still heavily sloping from back to front?
It's certainly nowhere near what it was. Yeah. And what they've actually done, they've around the back of the green, they've sort of put a rim so you can actually roll it around the back of the green and have it come back down onto the green, which is quite good. So you know how
you used to get stuck up there, yeah, which was nasty.
Whereas now, if the pin's at the back of or sort of towards the back of the green, I could see people say from sort of the other side of the creek, just getting maybe a gap wedge or a pitching wedge and hitting into that bank and letting it come back down and roll back down to the flag. I reckon that's definitely on when the pin's towards the back of the green.
Interesting. I don't mind that change because, you could get into some positions above the hole at the back, and you would be battling to stop the ball going in the water.
Yeah. And I've so in the Mollymook Opens of the past, there were two greens. There's that green on 13, and then there's the 18th green where the old members used to stand and have a bit of a giggle at the misfortunes of some of the golfers trying to putt on those two greens because it was brutal.
Yeah, 100%.
So anyway, given the bunker was Gurr, I took a drop out of the bunker and hit a reasonably good little pitch shot over the bunker. I had to drop it short of the bunker. I was sort of hoping when I saw it drop into the bunker that I may have got a sort of nearest point of relief was to the side of the bunker, but it was not. So I had to drop at the front of the bunker, hit a good little pitch to probably around about 6 feet and hit a really good putt straight in the middle of the hole. So I managed to make par after my little bit of fortune on the first two shots.
After hitting a couple of woods. It's good.
Yes, yeah. So I'm on the par train, right? So I've made 4 pars in a row.
You are. This is good.
So I sort of feel as though, my plan on the 10th tee was sort of starting to work out. So I was feeling pretty good. So I stood on the 14th and hit a really good drive up the right-hand side of the fairway. And it's sort of, so the 14th is a par 4 uphill, dogleg slightly to the left, the new fairway bunker on the left-hand side of the fairway. I hit it sort of up the right-hand side of the fairway, just into the rough. And when we sort of got up there, it was a bit of a bare lie, which, wasn't too bad because if it was in the rough, it might have sort of been in a little bit of a fluffy lie or sitting down, but it was on a bit of a hard pen, which I don't mind. And it was 143 metres to the flag, but all the way up the hill. So I grabbed a 7-iron and hit a really good 7-iron at the right-hand side of the flag, and sort of felt pretty good that it was going to be about pin high. When we got up there, it was sort of slightly past pin high, but again, sort of new green, very, very different green to the previous incarnation of that green. But yeah, it was just above the flag, probably around about maybe 15 feet sort of a little bit past and to the right. And I looked at the putt, and I thought it was going to go a little bit right to left. But again, because it was downhill and new green, didn't quite know what the speed was, I didn't want to be too aggressive. And I hit a reasonable putt, but it just sort of bobbled down there and ended up, a couple of inches to the left of the flag and tapped in for an easy 4.
That's good. I mean, I always remember that green being a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you pass that flag, or if you're to the right of the green,
yes,
it was pretty brutal.
Yeah,
yeah, you had to be short.
Yeah. So is it not as bad now?
Yeah, it's not. Look, there's still slope on the green, and you'll still have a quick putt if you're past the flag, but certainly nothing like the previous version of that green. It's a vast improvement on what they had.
Yeah, because it was 3-putt city back in the old days.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But
so then we
par.
go to,
it's good. This is good.
Another par.
That's good.
We go to 15. Now 15's a par 4, a relatively short par 4, but around about 165 meters from the flag, there's a big gully. And there's a creek down the bottom of the gully, and then it sort of comes back up to the green, which is around about the same height as sort of the top of the hill on the other side of the fairway. So I've always hit sort of a 5 or a 6 iron off that tee to leave myself a flat shot, around about 140 meters into the flag. So I did that, hit a really good 6 iron. I had 144 meters into the flag, and I hit my 7 iron, and it may have just got above the top, the bottom groove. I reckon it maybe got the second bottom groove. And it went probably around about maybe 20 feet off the ground, but it went straight at the flag and landed around about maybe 30 feet short and sort of bounded up to around about 15 feet. So again, and Tomo, my playing partner, said, thin it to win it. So
and you turned around and you went, what are you talking about? I hit a stinger.
Yeah. And that's what it was. It was a stinger with a 7 iron.
Yeah.
So the putt, and I actually hit a good putt, but just misread the putt. It had a lot more break than what I thought it was gonna. Have, but made a 2-putt, easy par. So that was walked off the 15th with 6 pars in a row.
And solid golf. Just got to finish well from here, Andy Walker, is all that's required.
Yep. So we stood on the 16th tee. And 16th tee, I half thought about taking driver because I'd been hitting my driver quite well.
You should.
But then thought, no, like my game plan and my strategy has always been to hit a 3-wood when I had the 3-wood in the bag, but the 4 fairway.
There's so much room on this hole.
There is, but it's really important that you hit the fairway. So you don't want to go left, you don't want to go right. You in order to get to have a clear shot to the green, you've really got to hit the fairway. So I stood up there and hit a snap hook left into the bundy.
Oh, take the driver, for God's sake.
Yeah. And as it was sailing into the trees, that was exactly my thought. It was just like, why didn't you hit driver?
Yeah. Well, why?
Yeah. And I still ask myself that question. I don't know. So we get down there, and I really had no shot, or the only shot there was really to pitch out. So I pitched it out. I was 83 meters to the flag, and 83 meters is uphill. Actually uphill, but it's in my ballpark, right? So that's my distance. So I grabbed my 54. I knew exactly how far to hit it, and I felt like I made a really good swing and around about my 85 meter pitch, and I hit it really good. And I actually thought in the air, I thought it was going to be really good, but it sort of landed and just stopped, and it ended up around about 25 feet short of the flag. I got up there and I sort of went, wow, I can't believe that's that far short.
Yeah, but do you not
Like
think
it,
that's to do with the elevation shift?
no, it wasn't, because given I was 83 meters to the flag, and I'd sort of gave it my 85-meter pitch, I felt as though that was sufficient to be able to get it to the flag. I didn't think it was going to be sort of 25 feet short.
I don't know.
But anyway, that's what it was, and I hit a reasonably good putt, but again was one of these good putts that ended up just a little bit short, tapped in for a bogey.
That's disappointing. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I reckon there's enough elevation change on that second shot on that hole to add, maybe even a plays-like distance of another 10 metres.
Yeah, maybe. And look, with a full shot, I have a tendency to play a little bit longer than what I would with a flat straight shot. But with the 85 or the 83 meter shot, I felt as though my 85 meter 54 degree was sufficient to get it to the flag. But obviously,
Apparently not.
experience tells us that was not the case.
It was not the case. Okay, but all right, not a disaster. 2 holes to play.
Now,
one over for the 9.
17. Now, 17 is probably the most picturesque hole on the golf course. It's a stunning golf hole. So par 3.
You could expect to see it at Augusta. You really could.
Yeah. So about 155 meters, elevated tee over a creek to a green, sort of surrounded by 3 bunkers. Now the pin was in a reasonably easy position, pretty much smack bang in the middle of the green. I hit my 7-iron a little bit fat, and it just came up probably 10 meters short of the flag. So, sorry, 10 meters short of the green. So I got down there, and it was a pretty easy straightaway little sort of pitch. And I thought, I've got plenty of green to work with. I'm just going to hit a little sort of bunt 8-iron pitch and run. And I actually hit it really well and exactly how I wanted to hit it. But it then ran around about 12 feet past the hole. And I was a little bit surprised when I was actually just about to turn around and put my 8-iron back in the bag, thinking it was going to be 3 or 4 feet, and it just kept running. So it ended up around about 12 feet past. So I was a little bit disappointed with the result. And
Do you think it was a fair result, Andy Walker?
I wasn't really giving it much thought, to be honest with you. I was just disappointed with it.
Okay.
So and then hit a really poor putt. So in the putt lab, you know how I was making those sort of 2.7 degree left path with my putter. Yeah, that's how it felt like. I felt like I was trying to hit a cut with the putter, and
that's not good.
No, it was really poor, and just ended up short right and tapped in for another bogey.
Okay.
So up to 18 now. 18's par 5, all the way up the hill, but I sort of feel as though I can get pretty close to the green for 2. So and not that I wanted to hit it harder, but I wanted to get a good tee shot away. So I stood on the tee and made a really, really poor swing, probably my worst swing of the day.
Oh, man.
Spun out of it, and it was going left, going hard left, probably went into the tree line about 150 meters off the tee, and just didn't hit anything. So I was like, wow, I wonder. So running up the side of the 18th is that other par 5, the 8 that goes straight up the hill. And I thought that's going to be on the 8th fairway. So I'll go and sort of see where it is, and hopefully I might be able to get a shot through the trees, or at least have something to get it back on the fairway. So we get up there, and it's actually on the left-hand side of the 8th fairway.
Can you play up? Can you play up 8 though, and come over further down?
Not really. You don't get much of a shot from down there, and I actually was far back enough to be able to get a 7-iron up over the gum trees. So, because when I want to, I can hit the ball quite high.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go through the gums because there wasn't really a wide enough gap to be able to get either my 4-iron or 3 utility confidently through the gums. But I sort of looked up and went, I can get over that with a 7-iron. And I actually hit a really, really good shot straight over the top of the gums into the middle of the fairway, around about 145 short of the flag.
Okay. Not too bad.
So not too bad. In fact, my playing partners referred to my tee shot as the Ian Baker Finch shot on the first at St Andrews. That's how far left it went.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, we get up to play my third, and hit a sort of punch 7-iron into the green, but just sort of came over the top a little bit and just sort of pulled it left. It did sort of get onto the green, sort of around about sort of 35 feet left, but the pin was cut to the right-hand side of the green, and I pretty much went straight over the front left bunker. So I had a pretty long putt. Fortunately, it was towards the front of the green, so it was a sort of uphill left to right putt. Absolutely smashed it. Well, felt like I absolutely smashed it, but it came up about 6 feet short. And again, sort of a little sort of left to right 6-foot putt, and just allowed too much break and smashed it through the break around about a foot past. And I was,
come on.
Yeah, I was really, really dirty. Actually, may have said a swear word.
Far out.
Yeah. That's exactly what I said. So tapped it in for a closing 3 bogeys in a row, 79 9 over.
How did you feel?
So I felt like I played better than I scored. It was one of those rounds that I. So we go back to Oatlands and playing in the Oatlands seniors, and I had nothing at Oatlands and obviously shot 83.
Yep.
I actually felt reasonable walking off there, and I was disappointed with the score, but I wasn't overly disappointed with how I played, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I see some positives there. I see a lot of positives, actually. I feel as though I hit a lot of good shots. I feel as though I'm sorting my tee shots out. Yeah, I hit a couple of snap hooks at the end, sort of 14, sort of 16 and 18. But I was getting a little bit tired, and those sort of mistakes seem to come in a little bit more when I'm tired. The last time I played Mollymook in April, sort of same sort of thing happened, where I was playing well and hitting really, really good tee shots, but then on the back nine in those last few holes, the hook started to come out when I started to get a little bit tired and fatigued. So that's something I might have to work on a little bit. But apart from that, I think that, it's not too far away. I think I've just got to keep playing, keep grinding. In fact, one of my playing partners, not Tomo, one of the other guys, he as we were putting our scores into the app and signing it, he came up to me and said, "So, the competitive fire, you've still got it. It still burns, doesn't it?" I'm like, "Yep, absolutely." And he said, "You could tell. You grinded on every shot. You never gave up, and all the way around the course, you really grinded it out. And to be honest with you, that's probably a bigger compliment than what it was for him to say. I was played reasonably well, and it's not far away."
The best thing would have been, and I'll treat this seriously in just a moment, but bear with me. The best thing would have been if you just turned around and you went, "Yeah, I've got one dream: middle-aged sporting glory," with a straight face. That would have been gold.
I don't think he would have got the reference, given he's not a pilgrim.
That would have been gold. Anyway, but no, you're right. Like, for someone actually to notice that you stay in the fight to the 18th, obviously you're doing it, and that's awesome. You can't you can't control the score. You can do your best to deliver a good score, but you can control how much you stay in the fight. And
Yeah, 100%.
And you do that, week in, week out, good results are going to follow. So I think you're right. It is absolutely its complement.
Yeah. And look, I mean, I played off a handicap of 7. So that sort of just shows you how tough a course the Mollymook is. So at my home club in the midweek comp, I'm sort of playing off 4, sometimes 5. So at Mollymook on the weekend, I played off 7. So that just gives you an indication of what the golf course is like and how tough it is.
It's absolutely a tough course.
So
it's beautiful.
Net 72.
And, it's beautiful, and 100%. If you haven't been down there, get down there and play it. It's amazing.
So anyway, yeah, I'm disappointed with the score, but I think there's plenty to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we've come far enough along this pilgrimage road to not be getting too hung up on the actual score. There's more.
Yep.
As ridiculous as it sounds, there's more to golf than just the number that you write down at the end of it. You can have an ugly.
Yeah.
You could have an ugly 79. You could have a great 79. But the difference, the feeling of when you kind of feel like that's the worst that the score could have been for the way that you played, versus I got away with a few there and. A couple of 20-footers dropped and it could have easily been an 83, but it was a 79 at the end of the day. Like, in your heart of hearts how you've played. And more importantly, the velocity of your game at the moment seems to be pointing in the right direction.
Yes. Love the velocity of my game.
It's an interesting word, There's more to it than the original joke that we made. I think because it's we talk about the where your game's at. Are you happy with where it's at? Are you not? Where are you in the improvement journey? But velocity has a couple of things. One, it talks about the direction that you're moving in, that it's not static. And the other is it also talks a bit about the speed at which you're moving in that direction. I like it. I think it's an underutilized term in the golf vernacular. I can't wait to hear it in commentary on the PGA Tour when someone talks about Xander Schauffele, the velocity of his game is really positive at the moment. I think that'd be good. Then we know we've made it.
100%. So just going through the strokes gained as we normally do. So driving strokes gained was, and this obviously is against a scratch handicapper, it was minus 2.6 driving, minus 1.9 approach play, plus 1.3 short game, and I think that really showed. And now with those couple of really good up and downs that I had through the middle of the round. And then putting minus 2.7. But I feel as though I putted better than that. I feel as though I hit a lot of good putts that just didn't go in. Yeah. Right. But I was sort of there or thereabouts. And as I said, I hit a lot of good putts that felt good off the putter face.
And any other day, a few of them drop and it's a different story. It's not a bad putting stat though, to be honest. It's not bad.
Yeah. So it was pretty consistent across the board, with obviously the short game being the standout. But I'm continuing to do some work on the short game, and as we've covered, the coaching session I had with Andrew Dodd around short game, that was really good, and I felt as though that's really been of benefit.
Amazing, awesome. Standout lessons learned? Any?
I think the main thing is that I'm on the right path. Yeah. What I'm doing at the moment, and I have put a fair bit of work into my game over the last sort of 6 weeks to 2 months. As the Pilgrims know, I've had over the last couple of years, I've had some time off, a fair bit of time off injured. So I sort of feel as though at the start of the year, through sort of, after February and March when I started playing again, I was really starting again. And then there was a little bit of sort of stop-start through April and May. But the last couple of months, I feel like I've put a fair bit of time and a fair bit of effort and consistent effort into my game. And it feels as though that's just starting to take hold and pay some dividends in that when I'm over the ball, I actually feel good. So rather than sort of being over the ball and feeling like you've got a snake in your hand, which, you've been there, it actually feels good when I'm over the ball.
Well, that's good. That's exciting.
Yeah, so it's not far away, and I said this I was talking to Ted and Sue from Mollymook after the round, and it may not be my next round, it may not be next month, may not be the month after, but I feel like it's coming.
It was a very wise woman, I think it was, I remember, that said, it may not happen overnight, but it will happen.
Yes, very wise.
It's good.
Was that Cindy Crawford?
No, it's close. It was Rachel Hunter.
Oh, Rachel Hunter. I knew it was one of those supermodels.
Yeah. Shampoo ad from the 1990s.
Yep.
What does this podcast come to?
I had forgotten about that ad, but thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, it's a great ad. Anyway.
Not happy, Jan.
Oh, that was a better ad. That was a great ad. There's been some crackers over the years.
It has been.
Yeah. Not happy, Jan. Yeah. You could have said that on one of those tee shots, or even on the 3-putt on 18.
Yeah, let me tell you, I wasn't happy, Jan.
Yeah.
Didn't say that though.
No, fair enough. I do have one more question for you though before we wrap this thing up. Is how do you feel about the new putter?
Good. Feel really good actually. I feel as though it's just put my putting just into onto a different level, and not so much, inside sort of 6 feet, but more so the longer putts. I feel as though I'm hitting my longer putts on the line that I intend to, and I want to hit them. Whereas with the B90, I just felt like I was all over the shop. So the exact feelings that I had with the B90, in that I felt like I didn't have any putter face stability, feel like I've got that with the DF3. And I stood over some putts at Mollymook, and I felt like I was going to make them.
Yeah, that's good.
Even though I didn't, but I felt like I was going to, and I felt like I was going to make a good putt. And I haven't had that feeling for a long time.
Yep. That's good. That's what you want. You need confidence in the flat stick. Like, bottom line, if you feel good about it and you're confident about it, like, the difference that makes to your putting, it's just exponential. You stand 100%. Over something. You stand over something that you've got no belief in, and you're just not going to put a good stroke on it. Really, you might make the odd one, obviously, but you just it makes such a difference. Such a difference.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
And the other thing as well, to be honest, is to stop caring if it goes in or not.
Yeah, just focus on process.
Yeah. As crazy as that sounds, it makes a massive difference.
Yep. But a bit of exciting news over the next few weeks. I have actually entered into 3 more senior amateur events. So I'm playing in the Magenta Shores senior. That's 4th of September. Playing in the Penrith seniors.
Penrith.
Penrith. Now that's a couple of days before the Magenta, so that's on the 1st of September. And then I've actually got to go up to Cairns for a week on the 8th.
I've got to go to Cairns for a week. Sorry.
Got to go to Cairns for a week. Well, it's not quite a week. It's about sort of 5 days. And then I'll be back and playing in the Carnarvon Seniors on the 14th of September. So all of those 3, and the reason why I've chosen those 3 is they're all qualifiers for the New South Wales Senior Open.
That is exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah, so we'll see how we go with that.
Awesome work. Well, I feel like you're on the path to middle-aged sporting glory, Andy Walker.
I am.
And I want to celebrate that.
All right, let's do it.
And I think there's only one way that we can potentially celebrate that. I think you know what it is.
Can I have a guess?
Yeah.
Rock out, Pilgrims.
That's it.
Some say golf's a game, but it's life in a frame. No matter how far it flies, you gotta play the ball as it lies. Green grass in the afternoon, white ball under summer blue. Strike the ball clean off the tee, heartbreak when it lips out on me. Chasing middle-aged glory, their velocity is strong. How can chasing a dream be wrong? Middle-aged sport and glory, middle-aged sport and glory. They know they'll play the perfect round when the missing links are found. Middle-aged sport and glory, middle-aged sport and glory. They won't stop, they won't fold. They're never gonna be too old. Roving sandy wedge on the mic says they don't have the stuff to lie. Says the mental game is gone. Says the best days moved along at the high performance center. Swing by swing to find the answer. Is it swing plane or the grip? They've gotta step up and just let it rip. But the clock don't own their names, and the fire still burns the same. If Sandy Wedge won't sing their song, they'll have to prove old Sandy wrong. Middle-aged sport and glory, middle-aged sport and glory. They know to play the perfect round when the missing links are found. Middle-aged sport and glory, middle-aged sport and glory. They won't stop, they won't fold. They're never gonna be too old. And he pushes through every ache. Steve rebuilds what fear can break. One bad round can test a man. One good shot can change the plan. And the fairway rolls out wide to the green where the pins cut tight. One more swing to bring it home, searching for a title of their own. Middle-aged sport and glory, middle-aged sport and glory. They know they'll play the perfect round when the missing links are found. Middle-aged sport and glory, middle-aged sport and glory. They won't stop, they won't fold. They're never gonna be too old. Middle-aged sport and glory, middle-aged sport and glory. The world hears every drive, two guys keeping the dream alive. Hot summer days, cold winter nights. One small ball, one endless fight. Steve and Andy are on the ride, with the golf gods on their side.